1001 Horrible Facts by Rooney. Horrible food facts. Bedouin wedding feasts sometimes include a roast camel, stuffed with a sheep, stuffed with chickens, stuffed with fish, stuffed with eggs. In the 1800s, it was common to mix ground bones into flour to make it go further. Henry V of England once held a Christmas feast at which the menu included carp's tongues, roasted dolphin, and even flowers set in jelly. An average-sized person eats around 22,700 kilograms, that's 50,000 pounds, of food over the course of their entire life. Honey is bee vomit. Bees drink nectar from flowers, which they turn into honey before sucking it back up to store in the hive. Flavours of ice cream available in Japan include octopus, ox tongue, cactus, chicken wing, and even crab. The Roman Emperor Nero kept a glutton, which was an Egyptian slave who ate everything he was given to eat, including other people. To make tender beef especially tender, the Japanese shut cattle in the dark, feed them beer, and employ special cattle masseurs to massage them by hand 3 times a day. Poor bastards. Stinkheads are a traditional Alaskan dish. They're fish heads, often from salmon, buried in pits, lined with moss for a few weeks or months until rotten. They're then kneaded like pastry to mix up all the parts and eaten. Argentinian gauchos, that's basically South American cowboys. They have those in Chile as well. They keep the beef in the saddles so that it's pummeled until tender as they round around all day. It's said that the dish steak tartare came from Mongolia and warriors doing the same and then eating the steak raw, which is probably why it's a popular upper-class dish in Russia. Makes sense. Spanish eat the cheese cabrelas when it is con gusano or husano in the actual Spanish, because you don't like in Resident Evil. For example, any fans out there, Resident Evil 4, and there's a lot of fans obviously, but you say El Gigante rather than Gigante, because otherwise that'd be Mexican, for example, where they do, for some reason, they put emphasis on the G's. Sorry to any Mexicans out there, might somehow myth. But the term means it's crawling with live maggots. And yeah, in relation to that, there's an entry about Sardinian maggot cheese. And that's Kazu Masu. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, yeah. In India, ants are roasted, ground into a paste and served as chutney. A stew eaten at a funeral in Stone Age Wales was made from shellfish, eels, mice, frogs, toads, shrews, and snakes. That sounds like the perfect recipe for your in a Ray Mace situation. I'd try that. An 18th century recipe for making an enormous egg suggests sewing 20 egg yolks into an animal bladder, then dropping it into another animal bladder filled with 20 egg whites and boiling it all together. In 1919, a tidal wave of treacle swept through Boston. Not Lincolnshire, obviously. Sorry if I'm not representing those of you in Lincolnshire. But, Boston. Marky Mark, Boston. Yeah. It was caused when a storage tank burst and spilled 7.5 million litres of it into the streets. It poured over houses, knocking them down in a wave 2 stories high. Well, imagine being in that. During the Second World War, people in the UK were urged by the government to make the most of wild foods and were given recipes for cooking roast squirrel, rook casserole, basically ravens. Ravens from Ireland and the British Isles, I suppose. Stewed starlings and baked sparrows. Odd crisp flavours available around the world include octopus, seaweed, banana, sour cream and squid. The Insect Club, a restaurant in the USA, serves only dishes made with insects. The menu includes cricket pizza, insect chocolates, and insects in a blanket, crickets, mealworms, and blue cheese in puff pastry. Timon and Pumbaa would love that place. It'd be. I always wanted to hang out with them as a kid, barring the live insects that they eat. In 1971, a man found the head of a mouse in a bar of chocolate. Condemned prisoners are traditionally allowed a delicious last meal. In some US states, it's actually their last, not actually their last meal, but is served a day or two before the execution is called a special meal. Tradition tells that the French cheese Roquefort was discovered when a shepherd abandoned his lunch in a cave to chase a pretty girl he saw outside. When he came back months later, the cheese had gone mouldy, but still tasted good. Debatable. Durian is a fruit the size of a football, covered in spikes, that smells like rotting meat. It's supposed to taste good. And if those of you out there have played the PS2 game version of the film Madagascar, you actually collect those for Alex's raw power-ups. Just thought I'd throw that little factoid in there. Roman banquets often featured hummingbirds cooked in walnut shells and roasted stuffed dormice, sometimes rolled in honey and poppy seeds. The Romans even had farms producing dormice because they were so popular. In Slovenia, people still raise and fatten dormice ready to stew. In Nepal, Tibet, and parts of China, black tea is served with yak butter. Maybe it's self-explanatory, but yeah, it's yak milk, butter made from yak milk. Probably quite good if you mix it properly. I've tried to put butter substitute margarine in tea, and it didn't really work out so well. Maybe I didn't mix it properly, or maybe it just doesn't go. Need proper butter. During the First World War, Germany suffered such food shortages that people ate dogs and horses and even the kangaroos from the zoos. And this made me think of, I'm referencing films again. I'm referencing more films or as many films as Michael Weatherly, Tony DiNerso in NCIS, where he likes to drop film hints and stuff like that, references. Maybe think of the Jessica Chastain film, The Zookeeper's Wife, which is based on her kind of her struggles and her ways with coping with the whole thing. I suppose I never watched it, but yeah, that's the film, Zookeeper's Wife with Jessica Chastain. Cha, I think I'm pronouncing this right, is an East Jewish food made from stewing calves' feet until they turn to jelly. Now, I found out a couple of years ago, that I'm 1/8. I think I worked it out once. 1/8 Jewish maternally, and it makes me wonder if uh, if my maternal great grandparents ever ate stuff like that. There's going to be a couple of weird Jewish dishes in there, but just like if people feel free to comment. Is there do you how hardcore Jewish are you, upbringing wise? And depends on where you come from. Like, you come from Russia or Poland, where you come from, like proper traditional, you eat what's left kind of thing. I mean, until I read this book, I never heard that, and it's still weird to wrap my head around. I don't know if I want to try it or not. But yeah, any of you actual Jewish folk out there that eat this stuff? I don't know how you pronounce it properly. It's P A what do you call it? It's a P, comma, not comma thing, comma, not comma. Oh, bloody hell is it called? It's you guys are gonna have a right laugh. Trying to basically spurg my way out of this. Basically, there's flick things that they put in Italian family names like D'Alessio, De whatever. Yeah, it's PTCHA, and then before the T, it's that accent. It's that flick thing. The Italians use in D names. Cha, yeah, that. Anyway, yours who want to comment, then just if you've had it, then tell me the grisly details. All right, moving on. Rekoret is eaten in Norway, which is trout caught in a freshwater stream, stored in salt water with a little sugar and kept in a cool place, such as the garage, or garage if you're posh or American, for months before eating. Ambuyat, eaten in Brunei, is made from the pulp from the sago palm, stewed in water for several hours. Same mixture is made to stick the roof on a house. Also in Brunei, the sago worm, which lives inside rotting sago palms, is often cooked. In northern Australia, children often eat green ants. Pick them up, squish the head so they don't nibble you and bite off the bottom. In Madagascar, people eat a stew from tomatoes and zebras. Or zebras, if you're American again, but potato. I would try that. Beats getting stomachache from, I don't know, eating cassava root all day. According to the one of those Ross Kemp things that I watched. Pruno is a wine made by American prisoners from a mixture of fruit, sugar cubes, water, and tomato ketchup left to fester in a bin bag for a week. In some prisons, Pruno causes so many discipline problems that fruit has been banned. So basically, it's toilet wine, like from American Dad. Yeah, it's toilet wine. Principal Lewis in prison, bitch. Tracy something. Yeah, deserves to be a prison bitch with that name. A restaurant in Osaka serves whale ice cream made from the blubber of the minke whale, or minke whale. In the Japanese countryside, salamanders and skinks are grilled and served with lettuce. Well, salamanders must be imported. Actually, no, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of the axolotl. That's a kind of salamander, but they're only found in Mexico in a particular river. Yeah, salamanders are pretty much everywhere. Ignore what I said. In Nicaragua, turtle eggs are eaten raw. You eat the you add hot sauce and suck them out. Sea turtles, I guess, because there is a difference. But yeah, turtles and tortoises basically is what I'm getting at. Like, Torterra in Pokemon. Tortoise. Tortoise from the earth. Cinemas in Colombia serve paper cones filled with grey. I'm stammering like Arkwright in keeping up appearances. Open all hours. I only know that because I have a granddad who loves all those old, BBC comedies. Yeah, they eat giant fried or toasted ants. I'd try that. A rat restaurant in China sells rat and snake soup, rat kebabs, steamed rat with rice, and crispy fried rat. A restaurant in Changsha, China, offers food cooked in human breast milk. Oh, fuck no. Sorry, I'm with Ross Geller on this one. Um, you know, it is gross. There's nothing offensive about it. It is just gross. If you're not a baby, it's gross. If you think too much about honey, though, that it sounds gross in itself. And milk. Yeah, just don't think about it. Definitely, it's definitely a big. Excuse my Norman. You know, ye old, ye old Northern English French. That is little jerk. It's a resounding fuck no from me. In Newfoundland, seal flipper pie is a traditional dish for the end of a seal hunt. Kim blah 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 kimchi. I think pretty much everyone knows what that is. Cabbage stew. Sounds all right. Alligator kebabs are popular in southern Louisiana. In Fiji, people starve a pig for a week, then feed it veal when it is very hungry. A few hours later, they kill the pig and remove the half-digested veal, which they cook and eat. In Texas, there's an annual rattlesnake roundup, and people eat those. Deep fry them as well. It sounds all right. Another way of cooking snakes in Texas is to cut their head off, skin and gut them, poke a stick into the neck, wrap the snake loosely around the stick, and roast over a campfire. In China, people eat jelly duck's blood. Iguanas are popular and free food in Central America. They can often be caught in backyards. Slimy green stuff that looks like mucus is supposedly the best part of a lobster or crayfish. It's found in the head, and some Americans eat the main part of the lobster meat and then suck out the head to get the gunge out. Probably people from New York and Boston, and Maine, all the kind of river and people that are like longshoremen and fish and all that kind of stuff that have been fishing for years. Oh, and probably Nantucket as well. Whaling country. I won't be surprised. Moby Dick shit. As early as the 9th century, the Basques of Spain hunted whales, and whale tongue was considered a great delicacy. Poor things. Been victimised for donkey's years. Ullebruid is a Danish soup made from stale rye bread soaked in water, then it's boiled with beer and sugar, served with cream. It's possible to buy it in powder form, and you just add water to it. I'd rather just try and make it myself. Cibrio is an Italian dish that consists of the cooked crumbs from roosters. What's the point of that? It's almost as pointless as shark fin soup. God, I probably sound like Barco PI with the rate of my complaint about some of the dishes. Spam is a luncheon meat used as filling for sandwiches. At a spam cooking contest, one contestant made spam chip cookies, and I know some of my friends over the other side of the pond, whatever, I like using that term, might know spam, but probably not as much as over at my side of the pond. But um, it was actually introduced by basically American GIs, and it became popular. Um, there's one of those what do you call it? Hannah Fry episodes. The amazing the modern life thing. You'll know what I'm talking about. Where she talks about how uh, elevators or lifts work and smartphones work and food delivery works, um, and all that kind of stuff. And then microwaves. Yeah, it was in the spam thing was in the microwave episode, I think, because it was a modernized American invention that got popular after during the early Cold War and a bit before, just during the during during the war, to quote good old Buster Merrifield, Uncle Albert, Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, I like my old timey comedies. It's not really old timey, really, but you know what I mean. It's before I was around, and while I was sort of around. When I was about 7, it finished, 6 or 7. Um, yeah, spam sandwiches, spam fritters, all that kind of stuff. Um, I've never really been bothered for it, but maybe I haven't had it enough at breakfast as a kid, as a little kid, growing up. So I don't really care. But yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of gone back on itself in popularity and where it came from. The What was it? The Secret World of Modern Life with Hannah Fry. Anyway, yeah, that's a bit of a recommendation to keep this reading interesting. Anyway, in Canada, keep deep fried cod tongues are a popular dish. What is the fascination with tongues with people? I understand maybe use bits of an animal when you pour and tradition and stuff like that, but yeah, tongues, fins, humps. Just why? I'd try it, but I won't do it. I won't have like a traditional. Oh, let's say let's have a few fried cod tongues. The street markets of Indonesia sell whole smoked bats. That's probably not too bad. It's probably like it's probably it's going to sound stupid. I'm presuming some of fruit bats, maybe flying foxes. Because I imagine there's loads of those in the tropical jungles of Indonesia and so on. That they probably taste somewhere like cook's dog. Not that I'd know, but and maybe some kind of chicken. With the claws and the wings. McDonald's in Hong Kong sells a sweet corn pie and a sweet pie crust, which is the same as the apple pies in the West. The crust, presumably. An international cooking contest to find the best recipe for earthworms included entries of stews, salads, and soups, but was won by a recipe for applesauce surprise cake. Guess what the surprise was? Jack Fuller was buried in a pyramid in Sussex, England in 1811. It's said by local people that inside it he's seated at a table with a roast chicken and a bottle of port. Baby mouse wine from China is a bottle of wine packed with baby mice to flavour. What is it with killing baby animals? Fat bastards. Romans did it too. We sort of do it. Lamb burgers and stuff, which are delicious, but makes me feel a bit guilty. So that is it. The same thing with veal. If you're posh enough or rich enough to have veal, it's supposed to be really good, but it's like it's baby cow. That one South Park episode didn't help matters. Some Arctic explorers have been poisoned by eating polar bear liver. The polar bear eats so much fish that fatal livers are. Put your tongue back in your mouth, James. James the First's and /6 not real dead, potentially. Yeah, put your tongue back in your mouth. Yeah, polar bears store so much vitamin D or vitamin D, if you want to be that way. If you want to be awkward. Who am I to judge? That it collects in its liver. That's amazing, that actually. A restaurant in Pennsylvania offers a hamburger that weighs 4 kilograms. No one has yet managed to finish one. But maybe they have. This book's from like 2007 or something, at least. Or the most, whatever. Maybe Adam Richmond did it once. The Chinese. Oh, fucking Chinese again. Sorry. I sound awful, don't I? I was hoping for more Hong Kong stuff, actually. Which it's like, they seem more. I think out of China, I think Hong Kong's the place I've always wanted to visit the most, just because it's so different but so similar at the same time. It's the kind of country that um, a lot of when it was still a UK territory. Same with Shanghai, I think. Maybe to some extent, people from mainland China would go over there to, seek better opportunities. But a lot of you know professional criminals kind of came from there though as a bit of a bad result, like that murderer Charles Ng and his pal Leonard Lake who used to film snuff stuff. It was Ng was like a rich kid who went to boarding school in Leeds, not too far, not too in the same region I am. I'm in. I'm sort of in Liversedge, Cleckheaton way, but yeah, good, good 20 on a good day, good 20-minute bus ride. Not the boarding school, but Leeds in general. Anyway, I'll stop yammering. Yeah, yeah. The chinks make a swim bladder soup. Oh god, I hope I don't get monetized for my little racist digs. But everyone's a little bit racist, according to that stupid puppet song. Yeah, yeah. Swim bladder. It basically helps a fish swim, and it's spongy. Why the fuck would you eat that? Drunken shrimp served in China are live shrimps swimming in a bowl of rice wine. The idea is to catch them with chopsticks and bite their heads off. Bedouin people cook a camel's hump by burying it in underground and lighting a fire over the top of it. When they dig it up and eat it, the top is cooked, but the bottom's still mostly bloody and raw. In the village of Ness, Scotland, or island village, people eat gannets. They're a type of seabird. It's like a little nicknamey thing that I used to be called. I think it's like a northern thing in general. Scots, Yorkshire people, Yorkshire folk, Lancashire folk, Geordies, people from Newcastle, kind of share kind of little slang words. Same with the Irish as well. I think the further north in theoretically Britain you go, you have a lot of the kind of similar, kind of ye old nicknamey teasing things. Makes sense, from Vikings and um, leftover Celtic types. Uh, yeah, gannet. That's what it used to be called because I used to wolf my food down when I really enjoyed it as a kid. I still do, but that was a little nickname my mum used to like to call me when I was a wee tyke. That's my that's my attempt at a Scottish accent. I can't really do one beyond, I guess, Davy. Captain Davy Jones. Then that's debatable. Yeah, they're a seabird. Bad luck to eat a seabird. So excuse me. Uh, yeah. For some reason, the claws are the most highly prized part. I'm guessing they don't eat them. I guess it's like they just collect them because it's like look at the bounty I got today. Eskimos have been known to make eagle wine, which is when they put a seagull in a bottle of water, wait for it to go off. Crispy fried duck or chicken feet are a delicacy in China. In America, whole chicken feet are sometimes pickled or made into soup. In Sicily and Japan, people eat the raw eggs or roe of sea urchins. In the Philippines, the eyes are considered the tastiest part of a steamed fish. It's recommended you don't really eat the cornea. Fried chicken cartilage is served as a bar snack in Japan. Marmite, a favourite English spread for toast, is made from the leftover yeasty sludge or from brewing beer. Snake wine in China is a potent alcoholic drink spiced with juice from the gallbladder of a live snake. I hope they killed it. Actually, depends how much they use. They might as well kill it. In Wales, rook pie was considered a tasty way to get rid of a bird that might otherwise eat the crops. Nutria nutria are a large rodent that live some of the time in the water. They're a pest in Louisiana, where local authorities are encouraging people to eat them. But they don't taste good, so people can't be asked. A traditional dish in London is eels boiled and served in cold in jelly. Jellied eels. Never had them. Never even had eels in general. In the southern USA, squirrel brains are cooked still in the head, and you eat them with either a fork or your fingers. Hungarian scrambled eggs are fried with the blood from a freshly slaughtered pig. Some prisoners have big appetites. Richard Beavers, executed in Texas in 1994, ate for his last meal 6 pieces of French toast with butter and syrup, 6 barbecued spare ribs, 6 pieces of bacon, burnt, 4 scrambled eggs, 5 sausage patties, French fries with ketchup, 3 slices of cheese, 2 pieces of yellow cake with chocolate fudge icing, and finally, to wash it all down, 4 cartons of milk. God, he must have been God, if he had any kind of unfortunate leftover Neanderthal gene like I have with the lactose intolerance stuff, then his stomach must have been on fire when he was going for his actual execution. Maybe he hoped he shit himself to death. Or delay it. Anywho, in Indonesia, deep-fried monkey toes are eaten by sucking the meat straight off the bone. Biltong is favoured as a snack by rugby supporters in South Africa. It's dried strips of any meat, which it can be elephant, eland, whatever that is, antelope. In our version, because they sell it over here as well, our equivalent was used like beef and stuff like that. It's essentially like beef jerky, but the texture is different. I actually prefer I prefer biltong, to be honest. I'm not South African as far as I know. And what I mean by that is, I mean like World War II great granddad stuff. But enough wittering on about tangentially related things. Yeah, beef jerky's got a nicer flavour, but it's like it's brutal. But if you chew like a whole packet of it. In Sweden, people make dumplings from flour, reindeer blood, and salt. In Japan, the blowfish is a delicacy, even though it contains a poison gland. Oh, it's pufferfish. Yeah. Or blowfish. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Anyway, yeah, it's fugu, which is legendarily dangerous. An omelette costing 1,000 American dollars, which is the equivalent of 530 pounds sterling, called the $1 zillion lobster frittata, was sold by a restaurant in New York. It contains a whole lobster and 280 grams of caviar, that's fish eggs, as well as eggs, cream, potato, and whiskey. Sounds nice, but 1, the price isn't worth it, and 2, how is it even close to a zillion? Stupid hyperbole. Exaggeration, basically, is what that means. In Georgia, there's a price limit of $20 on, I'm presuming American dollars again. I don't know why they didn't put the pound sterling equivalent like they did, on the lobster frittata. But there you go. Yeah, there's apparently a price limit, but that was on a last meal in the state of Georgia. But that was from 2004, so it's probably changed multiple times. Inflation and deflation, making the world go round and stuck. Small songbirds cooked and eaten whole have been so popular in Italy that many types have been wiped out completely. In Sweden and Norway, roast reindeer is a national dish. Yeah, a big game. Many cheap meat products such as sausages and burgers are made from mechanically recovered meat, which contains of a meat slurry collected from washing bones and mincing out parts of the dead animal that aren't used for anything else. In the Philippines, chicken heads may be made into a stew or barbecued whole. Jellyfish are eaten dried and salted in some parts of the world, and in the Gilbert Islands, jellyfish ovaries are served fried. No thanks. I don't believe in doing that kind of stuff anyway, reproductive stuff. It seems counterproductive if you want to keep a population of animals to eat alive. Aztecs gave people who were to be human sacrifices many last meals. They fattened them up for up to a year. The Russian Jewish dish, quiche, is made by stuffing a chicken skin with flour, butter, and spices and boiling it in chicken stock, which are then dried out and cut into slices. In China and Japan, sheets of dried jellyfish are sold for cooking. I'm sorry, I'm stammering some of these. I think it's whoever typed these made a few typing errors, like extra words and stuff like that. That's supposed to be there. Yeah, and then they're basically re-slimed, if that's a word, ready for cooking. So why dry them out in the first place? Ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and Romans all gave condemned prisoners a last meal. The Chinese eat monster barnacles the size of an adult's fist. The reproductive organs of sea urchins are eaten raw in many parts of the world, including Japan, Chile, and France. The town of Bunol in Spain has an annual tomato fight. That's the Festival del Tomate. People throw 25,000 people throw 100 tons of tomatoes at each other, and the streets can be flooded at up to 30 centimeters deep with juice. And if you're a Tekken fan, it's a stage in Tekken 6. The festival, Eva del Tomate, because it's the debut of Miguel Caballero Rojo, the angry Spaniard who really wants to kill Jin Kazama for his sister dying, and then introduced the Spanish stage, probably because he debuted. He deserves a comeback, and either if there's another season of Tekken 8 or just 9, maybe we should just move on to 9 already. In the Samoan Islands, the intestines of sea cucumbers are sold in jars steeped in seawater. The sea cucumber is a slithery, tube-like animal and is not a cucumber at all. And it's called a sea slug when it's cooked. The alcoholic drink mezcal has a cactus maggot preserved in the bottle. Well, all you Breaking Bad fans out there know that. Where Walt Jr. asks about, there isn't a worm in this, is there? I can't do his voice. I can't do the stutter on demand. Yeah, he was drinking tequila with Uncle Hank. In the UK, game, which are wild animals, basically woodland animals killed by pochers, shot in fields, they're often hung up until they're high, and that means they're left to just basically go off on a tree and then collected. The Masai Mara people of Africa drink blood drained from the neck of a live animal with a straw mixed up with milk. Raw pickled jellyfish are eaten in the Samoan Islands. Yeast are tiny fungi or mould present in bread, beer, and wine. The yeast eat sugar in the ingredients, making the gas which forms the bubbles in beer and wine in the holes in bread. Eels are sold live in markets around the world and killed just before cooking or before putting in the bag to go home. Black pudding, which is popular in mainly Scotland but all over GB, I guess, is a sausage it's blood sausage. yeah, pig blood sausage. There's probably some equivalent somewhere else. Orangutan lips used to be a delicacy in Vietnam. Soft ice cream of the type sold in ice cream vans is given to its slithery smoothness by an extract of seaweed. Baby eels called elvers are eaten in parts of Europe and the UK, specifically East England. They're very thin, so lots of are cooked tangled together like spaghetti. In fact, it's not entirely true anymore. When people have the contests, it's mainly just spaghetti, which is disappointing because I'd want to try that. In France, eyes are soaked in water, then boiled and stuffed, and finally deep fried in breadcrumbs. Most US states don't allow alcohol or tobacco in a prisoner's last meal. Prudes. Cow's tongue is often sold with the salivary glands. People make blood pudding from the blood of a pig or cow mixed with rice, milk, and sugar, and then baked. In Europe, whatever that means. It's a bit vague. To make the expensive pâté de foie gras, geese are forcibly fattened with grain so that their liver swells to many times its natural size. Animal cruelty in the name of taste again. Tequila, speaking of, Walt and his beloved uncle. Yeah, the worm should be swallowed. You know, if you want to get high. In England, lamprey as a face fish looks like an eel, traditionally cooked in a sauce flavoured with their own blood. You know, and Tyrion Lannister likes a good lamprey pie, and you know, there's the whole legend behind Henry I dying from lampreys. You know what? I'm getting to the end of the recording time anyway. So you know what? I'm gonna label this as a maybe part one. I'll call the other one continued. So yeah, this has been another episode. Well, so far the third episode of Let's Read a Book, and yeah, I'll continue with. I mean, there's other entries. I'll do those, but the food fact one is really fascinating, you know, culturally. So yeah, and I better rate something anyway. Speaking of, sometime. So yeah, remember to like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, thank you for the net for the third person since yesterday for subscribing. Thanks. You're a nice girl. I can't remember your name right now, but yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now, and you know, continue with it whenever. So yeah, this is Lee the History Boy signing off like Chekhov.